In this video, we reveal the shocking facts surrounding JFK's horrific assassination. Let's get into it. Two weeks before the shooting, Kennedy's driver died of a heart attack at Camp David. Interestingly enough, the day of the assassination, the man driving the president's car was 3 years past retirement. He drove for FDR in 1936. The motorcade was running 15 minutes late. At the time the president's car was scheduled to pass by the school book depository, Lee Harvey Oswald was seen on the second floor in the cafeteria. You would think if he was planning on shooting the president, he would have been on the 6th floor, waiting by the window. Kennedy's Secret Service did a less than favorable job protecting him the day that he was killed. Several of them were out really late drinking at a bar called The Cellar the night before. Some of them didn't make it back to their hotel rooms until between 2 and 5 in the morning, with their shifts beginning at 8 a.m. Some people say the famous photo of Lee Harvey Oswald holding a bolt-action rifle is fake. While forensic analysis have debunked the claim, it does appear that Oswald has a different chin in the photo. The photo doesn't prove his guilt anyway because the serial numbers on the gun aren't clearly visible in the photo, and bolt-action rifles were quite common in the 60s. The gun found at the school book depository was a poor weapon for a sniper to use. They're notorious for being both inaccurate and defective. Also, a store receipt shows that Oswald owned a different brand of rifle than the one supposedly used to kill Kennedy. Plus, the strap clips are in different places on the rifle in the infamous photo than the rifle found in the book depository. While Lee Harvey Oswald was in jail, he attempted to call John Hurt, who was a counterintelligence agent in World War II. According to Louis Sweeney and Alveda Triant, who were working the switchboard at the time, 2 men showed up, talked to Sweeney, and then listened in from the equipment room. Oswald requested to call John Hurt, but Miss Sweeney came back and told him that he didn't answer. It was a lie. She never attempted to call Mr. Hurt, and Miss Trion recalled that she seemed nervous and irritated. Then the men came out of the equipment room, thanked them for their cooperation, and left. According to Lee Harvey Oswald's mortician, Paul J. Grudy, agents came in the early morning with equipment and requested to have the prep room to themselves. When they left, there was ink on Oswald's hands, revealing that he had been fingerprinted and palm printed. Oswald's palm print was later found on the rifle identified as the weapon that killed Kennedy. Ed Hoffman claimed he was on the Stemmons Freeway when the assassination took place. He saw a stocky guy in a dark jacket with a camera around his neck from about 200 yards away. He was behind the fence talking to a cop when Ed got distracted and looked away. When he looked back, the man in the dark jacket was gone. Another man stood up, leaned a rifle over the fence, and fired a shot. Although Ed was deaf and couldn't hear it, he could see the smoke. The man then turned and ran down along the fence, stopped and tossed the rifle to another man who was standing by one of the railroad switch boxes, who then stripped it, put it in a bag, and quickly walked away. The single bullet theory is that the same bullet that went through Kennedy's neck also struck Governor Connolly's back, exited his chest, went through his wrist, and into his thigh. One of the problems with this theory is that the bullet would have had to have stopped and turned in mid-air. If you can get past that, the footage presents a more serious problem. It shows Connolly was still holding his hat while Kennedy was holding his neck from a gunshot injury, which would have been impossible after the bullet went through his wrist. Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested for killing Officer J.D. Tippit, a decorated war hero, and was linked to JFK's murder while in custody. Mortician Earl Rose concluded that Officer Tippit was shot with 2 different bullets. It looks to us like when you look at the evidence that was ignored by the Warren Commission, they definitely hid important details about the assassination. They kept things from the public that they had a right to know about. We think there was a very likely conspiracy that got covered up. But what about you? What do you think?